And today I want to talk about loneliness and why people get lonely. Because I've got a few people in my life that say they're lonely. And I've always wondered why. Why are you lonely? Why is that happening? Why do people get lonely? Especially in old age. Especially after the age of 60 when, the kids have left home and, you've quit work, so you no longer have that sort of environment to be around people. I just wonder why people get lonely and what can be done about it. I think the biggest thing about loneliness, the biggest thing that people don't seem to realise, is that loneliness happens like everything else, slowly. Slowly you stop working. Slowly the kids leave home. And so a couple of years down the track you realise, oh bugger it, I'm all alone. I'm lonely. You can even be lonely if you've got a partner, because they might satisfy some of your needs, but not all of them. I'm lucky. I think I would rarely suffer from loneliness because I like my own company. But I'm sure I'd get lonely if I didn't have a beautiful wife and I was by myself and I didn't pay attention to it until it hit me. So I think loneliness really is something that happens slowly, and the way to get around it, or the way to look at it, is I think with loneliness means that you've stopped giving. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I just mean that in the way that if you're giving, then you receive. It's as simple as that. So sitting in front of the TV and doing bugger all and then complaining that you're lonely, which has happened with a few friends of mine, that's what's happened. I look at that and I think, well, you're the master of your own destiny really, and you've created this scenario without blame. It just is what it is. I'm not blaming here or judging people, but don't need to do that. But I think if you stop giving, like the other day I thought, geez, I feel a little depressed and a little bit anxious, mostly anxious, starting a couple of new businesses and it worries me, and I've still got old businesses running and all the rest of it. I got a bit anxious and I thought, oh right, okay, what I'll do is I'll forget about me and my silly thoughts, and tomorrow I'll give at least 8 times before lunchtime. Whether I'm giving something to my wife, whether I'm giving something to a client, whether I'm giving something to the local coffee shop, whatever it is, I'm going to give. And so by 11 o'clock, I was happy again. All that anxiety and all that nonsense was gone. And that was because I was giving. And I gave, sometimes I gave client work that they wanted early, and they're going to pay me, of course, but it doesn't matter. I still, made the point of making sure they were looked after. Went to the coffee shop, bought a coffee, gave to them, said g'day. I said to the girl, geez, I like those earring things you got in there. She had these weird earrings. I thought, oh God, I bet you my daughter would love them. And she smiled, made her feel good. I tried not to be creepy. I'm not very good at giving compliments just quietly. But anyway, she smiled and she gave back to me. She made me feel good by smiling. And I got my coffee and she said, bye. So by 11 o'clock, everything was good. So I think if you are lonely, if you're sitting there watching this video late at night and you're feeling miserable and you're feeling like nobody cares, or it's just awful, you need to make a list of all the people that you can give to tomorrow. Doesn't matter how small it is, even if it's a bit practiced and rehearsed, it doesn't matter. You give, and honest to God, I've worked it out. I've worked it out from my experience, because I'm 60 and very experienced with life. I've worked it out that if you genuinely give, actually, you receive 4 times the amount back. Not all at the same time, not all on the same day, but you receive back. And I've got a very close friend. They're not so close anymore, unfortunately, but I've got a close friend that kind of sits in front of the TV all the time has given up on life a little bit and almost has turned into a nasty piece of work because they've stopped giving. They don't give. If you go over there, all they do is complain, and they whinge about what somebody's done to them or what somebody hasn't done to them or whatever it is. And of course, nobody wants to give to them, so they don't receive, so they get lonely. And I think that is a problem with loneliness, is that you really have to get out there and give, not with the expectation of receiving every single time, but you will receive back. You will get something back. And sometimes it comes back in the weirdest way. But yeah, if you're lonely, sort it out. I think oftentimes, a lot of the times in life, emotions and emotional feelings and feeling bad, feeling good, whatever it is, it starts first and foremost with the practicality of something. So you have to do something to get something. You have to work it out. You have to plan it a little bit. It can't just happen. Because if it just happens, then that's really luck, isn't it? Oh, by the way, the more you do, the more you get out there and do stuff, the more lucky you get. Because you're putting yourself in positions for that luck to come your way. But I don't really like talking about luck all that much because it's a bit hit and miss. But whereas getting out there and killing the loneliness with all by your own volition, then that's a good thing. That kills that loneliness thing. And the world is full of lonely people. And I'm sure that if they started giving a little bit more, they wouldn't be so lonely. I'm not very good at it either, just quietly. Quite frankly, I've found it true for me. If I give, then I receive, and I feel a little bit less lonely and a little bit less isolated, because I'm a bit of an entrepreneur, and it's a bit lonely. If you're a bit rebellious and you're a bit out there, then it can be a little bit lonely. But I've done it. I've woken up with no opportunities, no clients, no work, nothing. And I felt isolated and lonely and heartbroken and blah, 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 blah. Whinge, whinge, whine, whine. And then what I did, I just called an old client out of the blue. Just called them, just see how they're going. That was it. Not asking for work, not pleading. I just asked them for, how you going? And I did that 3 times. In the afternoon, get a phone call, more work comes in. I remember doing it. I remember being in that situation. And yeah, you have to give. If you give, thou shalt receive. Is that religious? I think with anything in life, any emotion, any situation, is going to take work. It really will. It'll take work to get you out of it. And you have to put the effort in. See, that's where people go wrong all the time. They can't be bothered. Most of us are lazy because laziness stems from safety. So our bodies and our emotions and all the rest of it, they're just trying to keep you alive and safe so you can survive. But we've gone past survival. We've gone past it completely. But we've still got the same body and the same mind and the same reptilian part of the brain and so forth and so on. So, our body just wants us to sit there safely wrapped in our little crochet blanket and don't do anything and don't say anything and you're good. We're safe. It's all good. But whereas if you have to get on the phone and call somebody and ask how they are and try and give to them, then fear kicks in. Will I get rejected? Will I look like an idiot? But unfortunately, we have to put in that effort for anything to happen. And like anything, once you do it a few times, you get better at it and it doesn't become so scary. Nobody ever teaches this stuff though. I've never really been taught any of this when I was younger, when I was older. I've just had to bumble through and learn it. But yeah, 20 years to go, and they are not going to be lonely years, I can tell you that right now, because I'm determined. Stay sharp.